This is not the video I intended to make. When I set out, I wanted to just make a fun little video that was highlighting 3 interesting new cafes in London. Now, I don't want to get into reviewing cafes, it doesn't really work for me, there's too many conflicts of interest, but there were 3 cafes, we didn't supply any of them, but they seemed notable and kind of interesting, and I thought, why not go out, shoot some footage, have some coffee? Watching that footage back and watching the footage I shot to camera that day, I realized that I didn't really say what I wanted to say about those cafes, and what I think about them is maybe a little bit different. So I went to 3 places. The first place I went to is called Omotesando Coffee. Now, they had an original outpost in Tokyo that I went to many years ago, and that closed. But since then, they've opened a number of other cafes, and most recently, one in Fitzrovia in London. It is a beautiful space. And as well as that, it's a calm space. A space with a kind of measured tempo to it. And they didn't choose to cram in tons of seats, and they don't offer much beyond cups of coffee and some delicious square little canapés. But nonetheless, it's busy. People are interested, people are drawn into the space. After that, I went up to a new cafe by a famous chef called Alain Ducasse. And he's got a chocolate sort of space, and next door a small kind of coffee bar. And this place had been recommended to me by several people, a few of which said it reminded them of Penny University, an old square mile project from 2010. This was an interesting space because it kind of took a fine dining chef's approach to coffee, and a lot of the equipment was maybe familiar, though often customized in interesting ways. And I spent £13 on a cup of coffee. And I was very happy to do so. I'd never had coffee from the island of Reunion before, the island formerly known as Bourbon. And the experience felt different. It was calm, it was measured, it was thoughtful. It was certainly memorable, worth talking about. And after that, the third place I went to is a very different space. It's called Roasting Plant. It's down near Borough Market. It's a New York-based business, and they've kind of been brought over to London. And here it's about theatre in a very, very different kind of way. It's about a kind of robotic theatre. The way that they roast is fully on display. Beans are kind of moved pneumatically from green bean storage to the roaster, from the roaster into silos, and from the little silos directly into the coffee machine to make your drink. So you have this kind of customization, this kind of Willy Wonka-esque tubes flying around everywhere, and again, it felt unlike anything else really in London. When I started to think about them, it wasn't just that they'd all chosen to explore spectacle and theatre in a different kind of way. It was a kind of otherness that all of them had, a kind of outsider approach. Coffee in London and in many cities is extremely homogeneous. It's very similar in a lot of places, and these felt different. Different in their approach, different in their execution. All spaces that you would go to and maybe want to tell someone about afterwards. And even if it wasn't going to be your local everyday space, still interesting nonetheless. And so I wanted to share that. I wanted to share my little day out, my little coffee tour around 3 new spaces in London. If you've been, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you think about those spaces? I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a great day.